We are here with Glenn, who's going to tell us what he does here at Blue Crew Divers, when he started diving, and why he loves scuba. Glenn?
Hello, everybody. I am Glenn Pugh, and well, I've been diving for a very long time, but we'll get into that shortly. I am here with Blue Crew Divers today, and I've been with the crew from Blue Crew Divers for almost 20 years. And I can remember the day I met Chris at Blue Crew Divers, because I was supposed to be doing something else in my day job, which is industrial investment real estate. I wandered into the shop he was with then to make an inquiry about rebreathers. And they didn't handle rebreathers at that shop at that time. So he said, oh, no, rebreathers are bad, but ... and I haven't gotten out yet, and that was almost 20 years ago. So that's one of Chris's great strengths. I was originally certified to dive December 7th, 1980. Even prior to that, I'm a extremely blessed and lucky, fortunate person, because I am one of those folks that does what they absolutely love doing. And I cannot remember a time when I wasn't completely fascinated, entranced, enamored by diving. From the very first time I saw television, and for all of you out there, back in the old days, in the early 1960s, there was black and white TV, and you had to get up to change the channels, but there was a show on called Sea Hunt. There was Jacques Cousteau, there was National Geographic specials, and again, I cannot remember a time when that was what we had to watch. I would get up off the sofa and walk over and change the channel. In 1970, we were living in Boston, and my mother took me and my brothers and sisters, to the aquarium. And we were wandering around the aquarium, and the thing I'll never forget, there was lots of fish in there from all over the place, but one of the things I'll never forget was that there was one great big tank that didn't have any fish in it. There was some guy in it, I think scrubbing algae off the sides of it or something, but that's where we had to stay for almost the whole rest of the time, because I was in there. I graduated from high school in 1979, and I was certified by YMCA in 1980, and I just dove. With that for 20 plus years. We have a summer residence up in Maine, so I did most of my diving in cold waters. As a matter of fact, we didn't go to the blue waters. Our family didn't vacation, in the Caribbean in the wintertime. So I was a young adult before I ever even went to blue water. So I just thought that's what it was, and so I did. I got my first dry suit in 1990, and when I wandered into Chris's shop, I ended up joining the paddy wagon, as it were. And from about 2002 to about 2004, he got me, I had done advanced open water and nitrox in Honduras, but beyond that, I was an assistant instructor within about a year and a half. I was an instructor by 2005, I think, or 2004, 2005, I think it was. And I am currently a IDC staff instructor. And we can dress that up as much as we need to. Why I do it now is the same reason I've always done it. I can dress it up as a grown-up. I can pretend to be that, or be that, and what have you. But I always want to learn from those who know more than me and introduce fabulous things to those who haven't had the experiences that I have had. So again, it's been 40 years. Last December was my 40th anniversary. So, and I will continue doing this until I can't anymore, because it's the driving passion in my world. We can collect certifications, say Boy Scout badges, what have you, which are nice booklets to have. But I want to continue to engage in the activity as I have. I would love to continue to introduce both the basic concepts and more advanced concepts to students who are interested in pursuing that, both as you know, as hobbies, and then, you know, there are those that want to, it becomes their thing too, you know. As anybody who is a teacher will know, when you have classes full of people, you know, they're the good people that go through the classes and they, you know, they like it, and when they go to the Caribbean, they'll dive, you know, on days that they're not playing tennis or going to the rope pool or something else. And then there's the ones, the couple in every class, and anybody who's a teacher knows this. There's a couple that just click with what you're handing to them, and those ones are the ones you live for. So I want to continue doing that, plus the fact, not being the smartest guy in the room, every time I teach a skill, I relearn it myself. So it keeps me honed to do that. I have explored throughout the decades some technical aspects of diving. You know, I'm a rebreather diver. And I have done some technical deep diving. It's not my principal activity, but with the pandemic having curtailed our activities with everything, this is a year I might want to get back into some practice with some of that other stuff.
Is there a favorite type of diving that you have your choice that you like to do the most?
I have been asked that question so many times. Glenn, what's your favorite dive? Glenn, what's your favorite dive place? Glenn, what's your favorite dive experience? My best answer to that is that there are different types of diving that I do. You know, there's a best cold water dive that I've done. You know, there's the most exotic dive in the world that I've done. So I'll just address that. There isn't an absolute apex dive, site, place, goal. It depends on where we are and what we are doing. For example, one of the most extreme wild dives I ever did was with this crew, these individuals that organized a trip to the Bikini Atoll a number of years ago, where we were diving the nuclear wrecks, which aren't nuclear anymore as far as I can tell. But that was both as far away from here, Philadelphia, as I've ever been. And it was also as far away from anything else as I've ever been. It was just smack in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, you know, and we were there for about 10 days, and we explored the most phenomenal, extraordinary, historic wrecks that exist on the planet, you know, and so that was one of the most extreme, wonderful dives in that element. As I said, I have a history in cold water diving. So some of the dives I've done up in Maine. You know, in the 1990s, for about 10 years, one of the local dive operators up there were diving with gray seals. Now, we can't do that anymore because Uncle Sam says we can't harass the seals. Okay, I get it. But prior to that, we could go out and harass the seals. Now they weigh 600 or 800 pounds each, okay, and they're great big guys, and well, they can swim way better than we can. So what we would do, and the operator up there was really good, you know, and we would go up to, in the late summer, not early when the pups were young, and not, you know, and other times, but you know, we would get in the water, and basically we would get in the water and just sit there because we were there for their entertainment. They weren't there for our entertainment, okay? And then if, you know, we got lucky, we would have interactions where they would swim by us and what have you. And on one particular dive that I shall never forget, we got in the water and, well, my dive buddy, I was just descending to a very shallow depth, and my dive buddy started, you know, pulling on my fins. I didn't know what she was looking for, so I turned around, and it wasn't her. It was one of the adolescent males, and they were bored. And then his buddy didn't want to let him get all the fun, so they were playing with us and this is very shallow dives. Our bottom time was, you know, an hour plus. You know, so these things were just playing with us and really playing with us, you know, I mean, for the better part of an hour. We can't do that anymore, but to get this close to an animal who is that large and that powerful and have them be like a big dog, because they kind of are like dogs, and if you look at them, they look like dogs, and you know, their flippers are actually what have evolved from their front legs and claws. You know, they have dog paws on them, you know, and they were shaking our hand. They were actually nibbling my hand. Don't stick your hand in a seal's mouth. Okay, but in this particular occasion, it was this wild, unbelievable situation. And the person I was with, it was one of her first dives, you know, and she said, "Oh, that was fun. Let's do that again tomorrow." I was like, "I've been doing this for 10 years and that's never happened before, and it probably won't happen again." So that's one of the most wild, you know, so we have the Bikini Atoll, we have that cold water dive, and you know, diving the Bay of Fundy, which is what we do. You know, our summer house is on Mount Desert Island. But we go 2 hours north to the Bay of Fundy, you know, where we have a twice daily 28-foot tide, and the marine environment up there is just beyond fabulous.
Do you have a dream diving destination where you've been already, or one that you haven't been to that you'd like to get to?
I actually do. Part of my training with this crew has involved being certified for ice diving. And ice diving is one of those elements where I love it because it's never crowded under there. It's never crowded. But that's one of the environments where safety protocol is of extreme importance, because you simply don't want to lose where you went down. However, and as anybody out there has seen, there's been some really great publication in the last year or two from a guy that did some extreme diving in Antarctica, and to the marine environment under there and the marine environment up in the northern polar regions. You know, and I don't want to be a wise guy, but I'd love to see them, well, there still is an ice cap up there. Okay, and that's my goal. That's one of my principal goals.
All right. What do you love most about teaching?
As I started to talk about a little bit earlier, you know, we, through Patty, you know, Patty has developed a phenomenal methodology of how they have us convey our experience and our knowledge, so that the students come out of it comfortable, safe, with all the tools in their toolbox that they need to be able to, breathe underwater and fly like Superman and have a great time doing it. And you know, people say, well, you know, we teach the advanced courses and we teach all these specialties. One of the great things about teaching introductory, you know, open water diving is that you get to be the person to introduce brand new students to that. I mean, some of them are curious, some of them have to do it for work or their academic career, what have you, but when you introduce somebody to that for the very first time, you know, like that, you don't get a first breath underwater, you know. And so part of our job within the framework of structure and safety and all that is to convey the passion, you know. So,
is there a favorite one that you like to teach? Do you trend towards the beginners, or do you like the more advanced? Or what's the favorite?
Just because I do particularly better on a one-on-one basis. My teaching style is less crowd control than it is, you know, right one-on-one. And so one of my joys is if there is a student in one of our classes who's having trouble and is not clicking with the same speed of the class, or there's something that they're not getting, you know, instead of holding the class back or falling out of the class, they will send that person over to me, and I can take all day if necessary, get inside that person's head and work with them, and I am almost all the time successful. Not all the time, but you know, given that, that's one of my great joys and strengths.
What's your favorite color?
Blue.
Your favorite pizza topping?
Steak and pepperoni.
What's your favorite drink?
Cheesesteak is, you know, that's cheesesteak and pepperoni, you know.
Favorite drink?
Is it in a bottle? No.
And B, your favorite island?
I don't have a favorite island. I'm sorry. I love
your children.
Yeah. Yes.
Your favorite movie?
I'm sorry, I don't have a favorite movie.
Favorite song?
I don't have a favorite song.
All right, let's get away from
This is not, you know.
Salt water or fresh water?
I'm gonna say salt water, but it's not leading salt water. You know, I haven't explored the fresh water enough.
Are you a morning person or a night person?
Oh, I'm a night person.
What is the color of your toothbrush?
Blue.
Blue. All right. Thank you very much.